Hi everybody, this is Spencer here, and glad you could be with me today. I thought I might do something a little different. Most everybody knows that I'm a painter. I do a lot of watercolor work, and I'm doing a series on watercolors. So I thought I might do something a little different today, especially for the kids that are at home right now. I like to collect these little rubber animals. Let me show you what they look like here. Right here's a little elephant. You can see him. If you go to Hobby Lobby or to some of the art stores, there's a little black bear. I think they're just really, really cool. They're about $1 a piece. Every time I'm in the art store, I'll buy a new one, and sometimes I'll buy more of the same one that I've already got. So I might have like 3 elephants or something like that. It's a little pig right there. Love this guy here. Look at him, little hippopotamus. Isn't he cool? And this guy here, Miss Jeffrey Giraffe. Look at that. How neat he is. But they're really fun. Look at there. It's a little purple dragon. Matter of fact, he's going to be the next drawing lesson that we do. But for today, I've got a special one. I wanted to start out with something that I like. That's what's so important about when you're doing art, is you got to do something you like. And so I like these little rubber animals, and I also like the sheep right here. He's just got a nice little shape to him, and he's something fairly simple. So let me get us started on the process of how we go about doing a shaded drawing of him, basically. And so let me start out right here. I'm going to set him down. You're going to need some paper. This is just regular copy paper, and just some pencils. I've got 4 pencils here, a big one so I can color dark areas faster, and then just 3 number 2 or HB pencils. They're just what you use in school. No, not a big deal. I've got 3 of them here because if I'm coloring this on tape, I don't want to have to get up, or on video, I don't want to have to get up and walk away to get another pencil. So anyway, that's what you're going to need. Piece of copy paper, 2-3 pencils, enough to get the job done. And so here's the process. So I took my little sheep here. I set him on a shelf, and I took a photograph of him. There's the photograph right there. And then I went in and I cropped it down to about the size I wanted. I took several different angles on him to get a orientation that I really liked. I think this is nice, kind of real pleasing to the eye. And so then what I did is I take a blank piece of paper, just like this, and lay it over. Put your photograph back here, lay it over, just like that. Now, I know you can't see it because there's no light behind me here, but what you do is once you put it like this, take it over to a window, hold it up against the window so that you can see through your white paper. You'll see the sheep in the background there, and then just take one of your pencils here and trace it out. Trace around them. Trace the shaded areas that you see. Trace the outline of him. Trace his eye. And when you get that done, you will have something that looks like that right there. There we go. You'll have something that looks just like that right there. Okay, it just almost looks like a puzzle that you'd put together or something. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go in and shade some different values in there, and it's going to look something like this right here when we're done. You can see there's areas of white on his body I didn't touch. I just left white paper. Then you see there's a couple areas that are lighter in value, and then there's some really dark areas of value. And value is the amount of light or dark that something is. So this is just going to be a little simple exercise in understanding values and how hard you have to push down on your pencils and such. So with that said, let's get started on them. And I'm going to start by reinforcing the outlines and putting in the very darkest areas. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to get started on this. So I've got my little rubber sheep right here as a reference. I've got my photo, which is my main reference, and then I've got the one that I've done beforehand as reference also. So what I want to do, I want to start by coloring in, or let me use the right term, rather than coloring, I'm shading. I want to shade in these darkest areas that you see here. The shadows that are back here underneath him. This dark shadow goes up along the side right here. So let me start with that right there. And this is going to be the darkest dark. So that's what you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to come down here and do this shadow. And I hope that you will post some of the shading drawings that you do so that I can see them. And notice I try to keep my pencil going in the same direction. Just makes it look nicer. Got in the wrong spot. And it's at this stage it's kind of easy to get in the wrong area. So maybe you want to do something like this. Just take and put a X in where you know it needs to be dark. Like right here. And right back there. And there's the eye. And then this area is going to be dark. And then this area right here is dark too. That's the darkest dark. So let me go ahead and finish coloring this in. I'm sorry, shading. I got to use the right words. Let me finish shading this in. I'm not coloring because I'm not using any color. I'm just using graphite pencil that basically just gives me either a light or a dark value depending on how hard I push on it. So, that being said, that little area is done there. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to come over here and shade. I almost said color again. I'm going to shade this in. Okay, I stopped the camera for just a minute to make sure everything was getting captured on the camera, and I realized my little sheep was not where you could see him, so I'm going to put him right there so you can see him. Okay. Now pick up my pencil again and get back to coloring this right here, and look at there. Nice. It's coming out really good. You doesn't have to be perfect by any means. See right there, I'm kind of going over the lines, coloring outside the lines even. Now this little area in here I'm going to leave light because if you look on the sheep, that's the other side of him catching a little bit of light. So we'll leave that light. And let's see, go up here. Just like that. You know, that I said this was for kids, but really this is for anybody that likes to color. Well, yeah, if you like to color, you like to shade. I'd encourage anybody, adults, kids, senior citizens, whoever you are, if you like art, do it. It's fun. Okay, so I've got this little area of him colored in here. Excuse me, shaded in. And I'm going to put his eye in because the eye is really important in an animal. An animal or person, that's what makes them come alive when you do that. So I'm going to get that put in there. All right, and I'm going to come over here and I see the shadow under his ear. That's pretty dark, so let's make that the darkest dark. And just shade it up to the bottom of his ear. And then there's a little spot right there that's pretty dark, so I'm going to put that in as a dark too, okay? You don't have to, but I kind of like it. Where else have I got a dark on here? Excuse me, my pencils are getting in the way. If you look right here, there's actually a little dark area over here on this side. Although I didn't mark it out, but I see it, so I'm going to shade it in. Now I want to get this dark area back here, the shadow. So let's get that in there. I'm going to leave just a little gap. I like to call it a halo. So I'm going to draw a line right along the edge of his body, just like that. And I'll color up to that line. And what that will do then is that will leave an edge there so that we see the edge of his body. I hope that makes sense to you. Let me keep it going here. Keep going. There, I did it again. Keep shading, keep shading. Really, this is pretty relaxing and fun. I can't wait to see what yours turns out. I bet you there's some really good artists out there that I'd like to see their work. So do your very best job, and then you post them on Facebook where I can see them, okay? All right. I'm going to take one quick look at it, see if I've got everything. Okay, there's some darks back here. I hope you can see this right here along his feet. So let's get those in there. That's the shadow back here, cast by his back leg. And you just kind of color it in nice and quick like that. There's more right up here. I see right under there is a little dot, so I'm going to shade that in. And then bring that around and come right up under here, under his foot. And this right over here is another shadow. See that? That's all the darks in there. Let's put his other eye in. If you look right there, you can see it, and you can see a little bit right there. Just kind of color a little dark crescent right there, and that will work. All right, so that's getting the darkest darks in. So I'm going to stop there for just a moment. All right, now we want to start on the next lightest area. So if you look in the photograph, this area back in here, right in here. Do this. I'm not going to push down near as hard on the pencil. Just push a little softer on the pencil, not as hard as you did to get that darkest dark. Remember, you are the artist, and this is your sheep, and this is your drawing, so make it look the way you want it to look, okay? All right, so I'm going to carry this middle value. I'm going to call this, actually there's 4 values. There's the darkest dark, there's the value that I'm putting down here, there's what's going to be white, and then there's going to be a third value that you see over here. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. It's going to be a little bit lighter. Go up here in around this ear here where it's, I've never seen an orange-faced sheep, have you? But maybe they're out there, I don't know. This one certainly has an orange face. But right now we're just gonna color that in a little bit to suggest that there's a difference in value there. Since we don't have any color, we're not putting any orange in, we're just gonna suggest it. How's that? Does that make sense? Okay, so there's the inner part of this ear here, and I see it coming around just a little, so there's that. Right out here on his nose, although we don't have this marked out, you can draw something just about like this, and then come down like that. And now let's shade that in, because that's a darker orange area, see that? So let's shade that in about the same value, not the darkest value, but the next lighter value. I'm using kind of a circular stroke with my pencil. Sometimes I do this right here, just kind of a up and down, up and down. Right now I'm using circular just because it's easier. All right, and I want to get his little nostril or whatever that is there, so I'm just going to put a little dark right there. This shape right here, see that right there? Let's make it this value here. So I'm going to do that real quick, and I'll go up into this. Have him done here in just a few minutes. Now that's another thing. It won't take you very long. I would think any of you out there should be able to do this in about 30 minutes from start to finish. Once you print out your photograph or print out, I'm actually going to give you the sketch, the original line drawing for it, so you don't even have to do that. You can just print that out and off of your computer, and then you can just jump right in and get to putting your values in there. When you're all done, you'll have a nice little black and white line drawing that's shaded in. Hang it on your wall or put it on the refrigerator. Hey, there's an idea. If somebody does one and puts it on the refrigerator, I'd like to see it. So let me go back and make these two little areas the same dark value as we originally started with. That just adds a little bit of variety to it. And if you don't get it just like mine, that doesn't matter. Okay, so there's that. All right, I've got all my darks in there, my darkest dark, my next dark. Now I'm going to shade in this lighter value. So push even softer on your pencil now, because you don't want it to get too dark, okay? See what I'm doing here? Can you see the difference between this and that right there? And you might even want to switch pencils. Let me grab a different pencil and see if it makes it a little easier. Some pencils have a harder lead in them than other pencils, and so they automatically want to. Let's see what else. Okay, this right here is going to get the light area. As soon as I get this value here, this is my last value I'm working with. As soon as I get it done, we're done with our drawing. Okay, look right here. See, that is quite a bit darker. That's more like that. So let's go ahead and color that in darker. About like that right there. There you go. How's that? And then this gets colored in this value. So that's the lighter value. I want to go up here and color in the rest of his face. See how it's all shaded in back here? I used that word color again, didn't I? So I'm going to go right here and just shade it this lightest value. Just like that. Color there. I did it again. Shade underneath his eye. Leave that little. I guess that's that little brow under his eye there. We're going to leave that alone. And go under there just like that. Shade a little bit back here because I see a little bit of dark there. Just to give him a little more line. I think he looks pretty good. The last thing you want to do is take and sign your drawing. So I always sign with my last name, which is Meager. And then you can actually put the date down. And this is 2020. So there we go. Well, I hope you've enjoyed drawing our little sheep today. I know I have. I've had a lot of fun with it. I always have fun when I'm doing art. And I'm looking forward to doing another lesson where we can draw some of these little characters. And next time, we'll be working on the little dragon. So until then, this is Spencer saying thanks for joining me.